born in Hong Kong a long time ago. So long I don't want to say when. My parents were from Guangdong province, some small village. I was here till I was 15. Then I was sent to the UK to be educated, went to a boarding school, and I stayed in England for 15 years. Towards the end of the 60s, 1967, I started working as an actor in London. I started as a walk-on, in fact. The first film that I worked on as a walk-on was The Empress from Hong Kong. Marlon Brando, Sophia Loren, the legendary Chaplin, Charles Chaplin, was directing. I think that was his last film. And Sophia Loren was still young then, as 1967. And then I did a lot of television work for BBC, ITV, some other movies. 1970, I came back to Hong Kong, didn't think about going into the film business, had my own business running, and then I got back into it around about 1976, and I'm still doing the same bloody thing after 30 years. It started with TVB, a TV series that the Hui brothers were doing at the time. I was recruited first as one of the panel of writers working on gags and stuff like that. And then occasionally there would be gags that requires other actors apart from the brothers, the Hui brothers, and I was always that person. So started with television, their show. And then I had a small part in their film. Then I had my own TV show after that. Both whole films, as it was known, had a panel of writers or thinkers, and they sort of brainstorm a lot behind closed doors, and it somehow it happened in the Lucky Star films. It was a very, very commercial formula, right? In that they wanted to be that safe that they wanted Jackie Chan in it. Because at that point, they weren't sure if the five was going to be enough of an entity. So, okay, bring Jackie Chan in, then you have the Japanese market. But from that, it established the five as a bunch. Every day was like, it's a fun day. Go there and then you sort of lark about for a day and then you get paid. It's wonderful. It's, you know, working with, as you say, this bunch of people, it's just one big laugh every day. We fool around and, you know, and then, yeah, that seems to work. That's quite funny, but let's do it that way. It's really that spontaneous. To be correct, 5 out of the 5, only 3 were actually capable of being funny. 2 of them, the handsome-looking one and the other one with the moustache, are actually very serious actors. They were never known for doing comedy. But a lot of the stuff actually was not scripted. In the script, it would be, okay, there would be such a scene. And then we would collaborate on the set, literally. And this is why it took so long to make any of those films. A lot of time was wasted actually just trying to work things out. Actually, you know, when the set is all lit already. And they said, okay, right, what are we going to do? You know, and then all these different ideas, walkthroughs, and then, you know, before you actually decide. But it's in the script. The idea of the scene is in the script. Samo, of course, was just one big laugh. Eric Jung, one big laugh. And the suave guy, he's okay, but he actually doesn't have a great sense of humor because, I don't know, he's been playing handsome guy roles for so long that he never had to be funny. Eric is funny when he's not being funny because his advantage is he looks like a 矮冬瓜. He's just sort of a blob with face and sort of very bland kind of, right? And because he's short. Eric is a very smart cookie. His brain turns at 3 times the speed of any normal person. But the trouble with Eric is he's very clever at thinking up ideas, new ideas, projects, so forth. But he does not know how to carry it through. He would think of it as a great idea, and then he say, okay, fine, you guys deal with it. He actually doesn't want to carry on having to deal with it once he's thought of the idea. And to this day, he's still the same, which is fine. We need people like that. John Shum is extremely well-educated intellectual in literature, in political science, stuff like that. Very angry kind of person with certain political issues. And in his younger days, he used to attend any kind of protest. He's sort of that way inclined. He was very, very angry at the Tiananmen Square event to the point that it was almost detrimental because he was working in Hong Kong. And as we all know, that China misses nothing. He was very much on the blacklist. So after that, I don't know what happened, but I think things have sort of calmed down now. At one time, he was pretty much, you know, in trouble. John Shum became an actor in the Lucky Star films, almost by mistake, because he just looked so strange with his hair. That, I mean, no Chinese would normally have hair like him, right? It just came about, but he actually never really enjoyed the acting side. When we worked together, at times it was a chore to him to try to be funny, because it was actually very difficult to direct him. So very often, Samuel would actually demonstrate to him, look, this is how you do it, just copy it. And I, as an actor myself, I thought, oh shit, this is actually the last thing you need, to be shown exactly what to do and copy it. I would never be able to do that. And I could see that John was actually struggling with dealing with that as well. So I think after a while, this is why he gave up. He realized that is actually not what he wanted to do with his life. The other one, with the moustache. Off screen, he's fearsome, in that he's highly sensitive to certain political issues about our country as being, we have the communists, we have the Kuomintang. And he's very much pro-right, the Kuomintang. And, you know, he gets very, very touchy if anything is said about the Kuomintang. Stuff like that. Very volatile kind of person, and we sort of stayed away from him. But of course, Sammo Hung was very much involved with, you know, the script. Technically, you cannot fault him in that he works without a shot list, he works without a storyboard. The scene is actually totally in his mind. Right? the training with all directors in Hong Kong is editing is very much part of the game as well. All directors sit with the editor and cut the film. So he can actually also see it from an editor's point of view, as we all do. So when he goes to shoot a scene, night before or before he even starts, he is actually seeing that scene in his mind from a director's point of view, from the editing point of view. So there's a economy of shots. You don't waste time, just, oh, let's do this, do that, and then end up throwing it away. Everything that is shot would be used, because you don't cover, let's do a master shot 10 minutes long, and then end up throwing away 9 minutes of it, right? And then the rest are close-up. If you know, if you have cut it in your mind, you know you only want 1 minute, which is so-called master, and then the rest would be pickup shots. Technically, he is incredible in that he would, without a shot list, without a storyboard, he would be able to say, okay, this is shot 20. Right? And then because we try to save time without changing the setup, we shoot when the light is going one direction. The next shot could be shot 45. What happens between 20-something and 40-something? Nobody knows except him. It's in his mind. And as he goes along, he will pick up all these shots that goes in between during the day. Sometimes, if he can't do it on that day, it would be next day or the day after. But it's all in there. And he will complete all these shots that's in between. And it's, to watch such a man work, it's like... Jackie Chan, he's just one big happy-go-lucky child. Filming it is everything. Whether he's in front of the camera, behind the camera, everything about filming is his total involvement in life. There's nothing more he wants to do with his life than films. And there's a total dedication, and he's always trying to improve, always trying to think of ways to make things better, not just from the acting or the scripting, but technically. Equipment, he's sourcing the world for better equipment, stuff like that, to improve the quality of his films. And that's serious. The man is that serious about his profession. I actually said to him, I said, Jackie, I said, I just wanted to point out to you, I said to him, so over the years, you have deviated from what you're best at doing. And he said, what's that? I said, comedy, not fighting. I said, you're best at doing comedy. Your kind of fighting is not really martial arts fighting. It's amusing and it's fun to watch. But I said, your strength lies in comedy. And this is where your talent lies. And his answer was, yes, well, we used to do that, but we have moved away because the Japanese market do not understand our kind of comedy. And I was in shock when he explained to me. I said, well, so are you saying that you don't want to play comedy because you would like to, but you don't because you want to be safe with the Japanese market? He said, well, this is what I've been told by Golden Harvest. I thought, oh, what a pity. And my advice to him was very clearly, I said, Jackie, you are wasting your talent. You've got to get back into comedy. And now, what do we see? Rush Hour 1, Rush Hour 2, Shanghai Night, Shanghai Noon, pure comedy. We were there always when the fight scenes were being shot, because we never knew when we would be brought into it, to be part of it. So everybody is on set while they were doing all this fighting. It goes on for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But we're all there, sitting around waiting, in case he decides, okay, well, you know, you might do something or you may not, we don't know. If we are told that, okay, this is what you're going to be doing, then we get to go to the side and practice with the stunt guys until we get it right. Laurel Hardy, the Three Stooges, Buster Keaton, all the greats. I think Sammo Hung was aware of that kind of films. The combination of the three of us is also this sort of slapping and hitting and sort of ordering around. It's very much in that kind of vein. But I think it was adopted very much to this three, as in, the idea is similar, but the ingredients are not quite the same, so to speak. But I think that kind of comedy worked with the Asian audience. There's actually more to it in its own language than when it's been dubbed into English. Starting with the names of the 5 characters, in Chinese, they were actually names of different ingredients of Chinese herbal medicine. So when the first one came out, the audience thought, oh, really? These guys have names like that? That's funny. You know, we all have Chinese medicinal names, right? So, well, when it's translated into English, you lose all that, which is a pity. Also, within a lot of the jokes and comedy is playing around with the language, the Cantonese language, as we know it. As in English comedy, very often the use of the language is very important to create the joke. We were able to do that as well as very visual kind of comedy. The script writer, Barry, is the best writer I have ever worked with in my years in Hong Kong. This man is an incredible dialogue writer. Given the 5 different characters, he knew exactly which one is capable of saying something like this, but not that. That is what that one would say. He knew exactly how the 5 characters' mind work, the kind of language, the kind of thing that they would say. And he never ever crossed it, which was a very, very unique kind of writing in terms of Cantonese films, Chinese films. Very often the westernized kind of humor doesn't work with a sort of Asian audience. They don't somehow get that subtlety. They have to be a bit more blatant. Who is going to be the one to take off his clothes, right? I actually said to Sammo, I said, why don't you do it? I said, you know, maybe it'd be very funny if you did it because you're so fat. You know, visually, it would be funny to see a huge fat person naked. He said, no. He said, when we were working on this scene, we all knew it was going to be you. Okay. Those were the days when Sammo Hung, all you have to say is, look, Sammo would like you to do this, and everybody would be happy to oblige. And it was a lot of fun to be able to do it like that. It meant nothing to anybody else who's not Hong Kong film goer, right? Because you have to know all these other actors and actresses to realize, hey, they're all there.